Hi, in this video, let us discuss about Spring's one of the dependency injection type, setter-based injection. Let us see one code sample for that. So you can see a project setter-based injection on the left-hand side. So let us see the Java beans inside it. So we have a Java bean called restaurant bean, and we have grocery shop and vegetable shop beans. Restaurant bean depends on grocery shop and vegetable shop beans. So grocery shop and vegetable shop beans are dependencies of restaurant bean. And let us see how these dependencies are injected to the restaurant bean by the Spring container. Okay. So in this code, in the restaurant code, we can see the instance variables Gopal provision store and Murugan Vegetable Mart. These instance variables are of type grocery shop and vegetable shop respectively. So for these instance variables, we have getter and setter methods. So we have written getter and setter method. You can see set Gopal provision store. This is a setter method, and we are passing a grocery shop object to this method. And we have set Murugan vegetable mart method. In this method, the parameter is passed vegetable shop. Vegetable shop is the parameter passed to this method. Okay, so these setter methods are used to set the object reference to these instance variables. Let us see the how these beans are configured. So in order to configure these beans, we use the XML file. So we have application context.xml file. So in this file, we you can see at line number 9 we have configured the grocery shop bean. Okay, at line number 11 we configured the vegetable shop bean. At line number 14 we have configured the restaurant bean. So if you notice, at line number 16 we are using a property tag. Line number 16 and 18 we use property tag, and the attribute of the property tag are name. For name, we have to give the name Gopal Provision Store. This name should be same as that of the instance variable name. So you see here in the restaurant, we have the Gopal Provision Store is the variable name, instance variable name. The same name should be given in this property name. And reference is should be the reference of the object reference, that is equal to the ID. So at line number 9 we have the ID, being ID as provision store. You have to give the same thing here also. So what will happen in this case? So when Spring container sees these things, right? When Spring container reads this XML file, at line number 9 by reading this it will create the grocery shop object. At line number 11 it sees this vegetable shop bean, so it creates the vegetable shop object. And at line number 14 it will create the restaurant object, and it will call the setter method of the restaurant bean. That is set Gopal provision store method will be called by the Spring container, and it will pass the provision store, that is grocery shop object, to this method. And it will call the set Murugan vegetable mart method, and it will pass the vegetable shop object to this method. So this is how the Spring container uses the setter-based injection to inject the dependencies of the bean. In this case, restaurant bean is the independent bean. Its dependencies are vegetable shop bean and grocery shop bean. So these beans are injected by the Spring container using setter methods. So it is called the setter-based injection. Now let us see the main class. Inside the main class, what we have done is at line number 11 we have created the class path XML application context object, which is nothing but the Spring container, and we pass the application context.xml file name to the constructor of this class. And we call the once we created the object of the class path XML application context, we call getBean method, and we pass the ID for the restaurant bean, which is Sri Bhavan, which will return the restaurant object. Then we call the serve meal method. Okay, So let us run this code and see the output now. So now you can see the output. So inside default constructor of grocery shop is printed because Spring container, when it creates the grocery shop object, it calls the default constructor. So this text is printed, and Spring container will create the vegetable shop bean object. At that time, it calls the constructor of this vegetable shop object, vegetable shop class. So this is printed, and it will call the set method, set global provision store method, to pass the provision store or grocery shop object to this method. So at that time it calls this. So we are having the system.out.println method inside the set global provision store method. So it prints also the inside set Murugan vegetable mart method also. Then grocery supplied, vegetables supplied all are printed. Meal is prepared is printed, and meal is served is printed. These methods, meal is prepared and meal is served, are printed from this method. That is, we have a method called prepare meal method. Inside this method, we are calling the supply groceries and supply vegetables method. And serve meal method we call, in this method we are calling prepare meal method. Okay, so this is how the setter based injection is used inside the by the Spring container.